Welcome back, everybody. We're here to pull cards for the 26th of June. I had to think about what month it is. 26th of June today. By the way, happy birthday, Vivian. It's really something for me to remember anybody's birthday. So that'll probably be the only happy birthday greeting you hear on these videos this year. Very interesting. Let's see what's coming up for the 26th of June. We had some interesting stuff yesterday. Let's see what's going on today. We had a card flip over and try to fall out. I went let it go ahead and fall. We do have the High Priestess. High Priestess does talk about either relying on our intuition or having something happens that makes us face the idea that we do have some intuitive abilities or some intuition that is going on, something around us spiritually that is going on that maybe we weren't aware of before, or at least we weren't aware of it to this level. Or it can talk about that this is just a good day to rely on our intuition. So maybe it's a good day to talk to somebody like me, a high priestess. We'll find out. We'll find out what's going on there. It's always a good day to talk to somebody like me, especially if it's me. Okay, let's put the kidding aside and let's pull out Aries card here. Aries. Okay. You've got the Sun card showing up in reverse. I think you're relying on your intuition because somebody is being less than straight up with you here. They may not be telling you the truth, and I think your intuition is hitting on that. It's recognizing when something is coming out of somebody's mouth and you're going, why does that make me feel a certain way? Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. Taurus. Taurus. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Taurus, you're picking up some kind of intuitive hits that has you really kind of shutting down as far as how you're operating in the tangible world today. You're much more focused on what you're picking up spiritually than what you're doing in the tangible world. Next, we're going to look at Gemini. Gemini. Excuse me. Page of Swords showing up in reverse for Geminis. Yep. Geminis, here's what I think. I think that something is happening to you today as far as intuitively, something that makes you aware that you have intuitive abilities. And I think that causes you to dig in and do some research and see what you can find out about it. And so that you can try to understand what's actually happening with you. That's what I think is going on. That's for Geminis. Next up, we're looking at Cancer. Cancer. Page of Pentacles. Cancer, you're picking up some kind of intuitive hit that um, that money isn't going to be there when it's expected. I think you're picking that up intuitively. You just have a feeling. Pay attention to that. Make a backup plan. Just in case you're right. Just in case you're right. It's good to know about these things. Boop, ba-da-doo. Water signs are generally pretty intuitive anyway, so it's not too surprising to see something like that come up for a Cancer. Next up, we're looking at Leo. Leo, Leo, Leo. Empress coming up in reverse. What's happening here for you, Leos? I feel like this is somebody else in your sphere of influence. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. Yeah, somebody's trying to pull your puppet strings. They're trying to manipulate you some way, probably emotionally. But they may even be trying to do something much more tangible, like they may be trying to bribe you some way or to motivate you with something that's tangible. And I think that intuitively you're picking up on this idea that, I think you're picking up on that this is manipulation. And I think you're also kind of asking yourself, why does this person feel like they need to manipulate me? Why don't they just come to me straight up and say, listen, this is what I need you to do, or this is what I need from you. Can you help me? I think it's just rubbing you all wrong that this person is going the manipulation route rather than just being straight up with you. Next up, we're going to look at Virgo. Virgo, 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 Virgo. What do you guys have? Five of Vessels showing up in reverse. Now, this is interesting. Virgo, some of you may have been feeling a block to your own intuition lately because there's some kind of old grudge that you're holding on to where you feel like somebody did something that insulted you or injured you, hurt you in some way. And I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying they did, not saying they didn't. I don't know. What I do know is you've been holding on to some kind of grudge, whether it's verified or not, who knows? You know, not me. And now you're letting go of that. You're forgiving, or you're letting go of that old insult, hurt, injury, wound. You're just not carrying that burden around anymore. And as you're releasing that, you're noticing that you're opening up much more intuitively to the world around you. Not necessarily the tangible world, the intuitive world around you. Good for you, Virgos. Immediate benefit right there. We like that. I'm one of those people, I like to see fast progress. And that's what you've got going on right there, Virgo. Not sure if that's your intention. Still happening. Libra. Six of Pentacles showing up in reverse. Excuse me. Libras, I get the sense that you're comparing your psychic abilities with other people's psychic abilities. Stop that. Stop that. I just had a mentoring session with somebody, I think it was yesterday actually. And we talked about the idea that all of us have psychic abilities. Some of us are more tuned into them than others. And all of our psychic abilities are just as different as all of our noses are different from each other. So when we compare our psychic abilities to somebody else's and we set them as the standard of this is how it's supposed to be, what we do is we automatically see ourselves as less than and see our abilities as less than. And that's not necessarily the case. I mean, there may be some of you who haven't practiced your psychic abilities as much as other people have practiced their psychic abilities, but that doesn't mean that they're less than. So, like for instance, my first mentor used to always say, oh, I see this, I see that, I see the other as she was doing a reading. Well, she was strongly clairvoyant. She was seeing it. Clairvoyancy is not one of my top strengths. I'm clairaudient, clairsentient, and claircognizant. And then once in a while, clairvoyance will come in. Once in a while, the clairgustos will come in. But those are not my strongest. So as she was saying, I'm seeing, I'm seeing, I'm seeing, I was thinking, man, I'm doing this wrong, wrong, wrong. Obviously, that's not true at all. I've got regulars that have been coming back to me for 9 and 10 years now. So I must be doing something right, right? And paying me to do what I do. So I must be doing something right. And I wasn't seeing. I still don't see in my readings. So this is telling me that you're comparing yourself to someone else, just like what I did, because I didn't know any better in the early days. And you feel like you're coming out of that comparison weak. Nay, don't compare yourself. Your abilities are not the same as mine. They're not the same as your neighbors. They're not the same as your best friends. They're not the same as your moms or your aunties. They're going to be different. It's your job to figure out how do your abilities work and then utilize them at the highest capability if you're interested in doing that. Okay? But don't compare yourself to others. Don't compare your abilities to others. It's never going to get you where you want to be. And it's not very productive at all. All right, next up, we're looking at Scorpio. Scorpio. Queen of Cups showing up in reverse. Oh, no. This just means we're going to be picking up something intuitively that is going to be throwing us off a little bit emotionally. When I say that, I don't mean we're picking up something negative, because if we're doing our psychic self-defense the way that we should be, that's not going to happen anyway. But I mean that we're going to be picking up something that is probably a little bit bigger and probably is not so fun to have a glimpse of. And it may kind of give us the heebie-jeebies, I guess is the best way to say that. This actually reminds me of one time I picked up something about an attack on a U.S. military base overseas, and I had never been to that base. I'm ex-Air Force, so I had been to Air Force bases, and this was an Air Force base. But I had never been to that base, had never even really seen pictures of it or anything. And I called to let the people at the base know who would need to know about what showed up in the dream. And before I made that call, I just kept trying to shake the message, because I just thought, this is just for me to know. It's not one of those for me to share. It didn't come up in a reading. I don't even know why I know this message. And I spent all day out in nature and just doing everything I knew how to shake the message and to come back and to just be in my full self. And nothing was working. So finally, I got a Skype subscription so I could call overseas at a reasonable rate. And I called the base and talked to them. And after I did that, I was back to my normal energy, my normal me. So if you are one of those that gets in a massive message like that, then the best way to get back to being your normal self is pass along that message to somebody who can do something about it, and then let it go. And when I say let it go, I mean, if you pass this message along to somebody who can do something about it and they don't take you seriously, that is not your problem. You have passed along the message. It's up to them, whatever they're going to do with it. So after you pass the message along, let it go. And then you'll get back into your normal energy. Now, hopefully, we're not all getting anything huge like that. Hopefully. But if you do, now you know what to do about it. I imagine a lot of you already knew what to do about it before I started talking. Let's look at Sagittarius. 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 Boop-ba-da-doo-doo. Page of Wands coming up for Sagittarius. What's happening here? Sagittarius, I think that there's some kind of intuitive hunch that you want to explore and see, was this right? Is this going to work out? And I think with that Page of Wands, you've got somebody that maybe you need to talk to them, or they need to be a part of it, or maybe they need to allow you entrance to some place to investigate this or whatever. This is getting that yes answer, that okay, I'm on board with this. Some of you could be signing up to spend the night in a haunted hotel or something and finding out that your registration was received and approved. There's a lot of ways that this can manifest, but that's just one example to kind of give you an idea to have clicking around in your gears so you recognize it whenever it shows up. But being given the go ahead on some type of idea that has to do with intuition or spiritual, secretish type of stuff, the arcane, the occult type of things. Boop-ba-da-doo. By the way, arcane just really means secret, the secret things. The arcane things are the secret things. All right, let's look at Capricorn. I feel like this is turning into a long video. Two of Swords showing up in reverse for those of you with Capricorn placements. Okay, so Capricorn, here's the deal. Your intuition is telling you one thing, and probably some people around you are telling you something else, or some stats and figures are telling you something else, and it has you really confused. Because you know you're getting this intuitive hit, and you know that normally you would follow that, but you've got somebody saying something that has you kind of questioning that intuitive hit. All right. Maybe somebody got the stats wrong, and so that has you thrown off, or somebody's saying something that isn't right, and that has you thrown off. I know there have been times in my past whenever I have gotten intuitive hits and I've confronted somebody and said, I'm getting da 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 da. Is that right? And, they don't want to admit it, whatever, for whatever reason. And so, no, 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 make up this whole big story. Later on, I would come to find out it was a big story. But during that time, I would be questioning my intuition. I would be like, oh man, how did I miss that by that much? What was I doing? Did I eat something I shouldn't have ate? Just really questioning everything. So, don't let somebody make you question your intuition. If you're getting an intuitive hit, trust it, go with it, make plans based on that, not on statistics that later on you're going to find out are faulty anyway, or somebody's big story because they just didn't want to admit the truth to you about something. Don't make plans based on silliness like that. All right, next up we are looking at Aquarius. Aquarius. Four of Wands showing up in reverse. Trying to get away from the glare, but I don't know that. There we go. So Four of Wands showing up in reverse, Aquarius. Talks about the idea of getting away from home. Some of you may be getting away from home and doing some type of meditation, psychic retreat, something like that. For others of you, this is advice that whenever you're tuning in, you want to be objective. Four of Wands in reverse talks about getting some space, getting some objectivity around a situation. So if you're trying to read something, it's going to be really important to be objective as you actually read that if you can. And if you can't, it's going to be important to get somebody to read that for you who can be objective if you need those answers today. Okay. If you need a reader, pick me. I'm good. All right, let's look at Pisces. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. I know, I'm incorrigible. Pisces. You guys have the Nine of Wands. Pisces, I think that you are getting some kind of psychic or intuitive hit today. And I think that that is allowing you to be prepared for something that's coming up later on. So it may not be happening today, or maybe it is, but you're still going to get this hit ahead of time, and it's allowing you to make some preparations, maybe mental or emotional, something like that. So sometimes that'll happen too. We'll get those hits ahead of time because we need to have time to prepare. Sometimes we get a psychic hit ahead of time because something's going to happen to somebody that is in our sphere of influence, and we're going to need to be there as support for them. Sometimes those will happen. And if we don't have time to get ready and sort of mentally and emotionally prepare, then we are just as sideswiped as the other person and we're not able to help. So sometimes we get messages ahead of time just so that we can be able to help when something actually comes to pass. That may be what's going on here, because you're definitely getting a message which allows you to prepare for something. Okay. Another example of getting a message which allows you to prepare for something is, say that we are looking at the cards of the day and you're getting those at the beginning of the day and something comes up that you don't like. Well, that's getting something intuitively. Even if it is my intuition, it's still getting something intuitively. And then you have that opportunity to make a change. So you can change the energy and make my cards be liars so that you can have the outcome that you would rather have. That could be an example of this as well. But you're getting in something intuitively or psychically, and that is allowing you to be prepared for something. Okay. All right. So that's what I've got for the day, everybody. That was a really interesting day, wasn't it? Peace. Peace, y'all. That's what I wish for everybody. One of these days, I'll tell you the story behind me being so big on peace, but not today. If you want a reading or a Reiki session, get a hold of me. And all my contact information is on my website above. We will get you scheduled in as quickly as possible. I don't like to put people on a waiting list if I can help it at all. And yeah, please remember that you guys are my sponsors. So I appreciate all the thumbs ups, all the shares, and all the comments down below. Everyone have a fantastic day. Peace out.